Doing a lot of great things at the airport we've seen. All right, joining us now for tonight's big close-up is Texas Congressman Pat Fallon, member of the House Intel Committee and House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, it's great to have you. You know, right now with everything going on, we love talking to our members of Congress, getting to the bottom of all of this. As you heard from those ridiculous clips there, Democrats don't appear willing to budge on anything. So will you be forced to pass ICE funding through a budget reconciliation process, or how is this all going to end?
Well, Tommy, you'd hope that the Democrats would stop the hyperbolic fear-mongering. And how about loving your country more than you hate Donald Trump? That's a start. We're at war, and they're talking about playing with a political football, and they're being performative over homeland security of all things at this time. It really smacks of, just really kind of runaway adolescent behavior.
Certainly.
Congressman, this is a little bit of a curveball, but I think you can handle it with your assigned committees. And I also snooped on your Twitter account a little bit, so I know you have some interest in this. Listen, we heard this week, this is the second military base that's been swarmed with drones. This was in Louisiana, I believe it was Barksdale Air Force Base. This comes after, I guess we learned that the El Paso airport was shut down because that we had used a laser device that helps with drones, and it kind of caused some disturbance there. Different federal administrations trying to figure out what was going on. Are we equipped in this country right now, or do we need to do more either through our military or other agencies to combat drones? I mean, it really feels like this is something that's a powder keg about to blow up on us.
Yeah, we have to remain ever vigilant. When you have technology improving at this rapid of rate, I mean, look at how wars are being fought now. Nobody would have predicted just a few years ago the way, you're not, the safest place you would have been on a battlefield was in the main battle tank, and now that's the last place you'd want to be.
Yeah.
And now the front lines have flip-flopped in Ukraine. You have the drones on the front lines and the personnel behind them, and then kind of a no man's land. So we need to remain ever vigilant. And yes, that does keep, I'm on the House Intel Committee. Many things keep me up at night. One of them is a drone attack, because we have to, it's almost like a Cold War of technology with offense and defense.
Congressman, Lisa Booth here. I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you about the Save America Act. Isn't it dead at this point? I mean, there's been some talk about potentially getting it done through reconciliation, but even Senator Mike Lee says that that's virtually impossible because of a little thing called the Byrd Rule. So is it dead?
You know what? It's a great question. How about this? And beyond honesty, let's go frank and candid. Yeah, it's dead. You know why it's dead? Because the Senate Republicans don't have the will to pass it. I hate to say that because I want to work with the Senate. We have to when we're in control of both chambers. But they have to have the will. They got 53 members. They could have done a walking filibuster. They didn't. And you know what? I'm not going to blame Leader Thune. He didn't have the votes. And that is really a shame.
Well, I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Let me weigh in here. Kevin Corke with you, Congressman. So I want to piggyback on something Lisa just asked you. So if Senate Republicans refuse to make this happen, and as you said, the leader over there, John Thune, doesn't have the votes, what is the recourse? I've been watching Mike Lee, and I understand it's the other side of the chamber. I understand that. But I'm just curious because I think a lot of people are frustrated, quite frankly. They're saying to me, and I'm sure to you too, what has to happen in order to ensure election integrity?
There's nothing more important than election integrity. If we don't have that, we don't have a republic. You have to. Sometimes you win close elections, and sometimes you lose them. But as long as you believe in the result, that it was fair, honest, and open, you can live with it. And that's why this was so important. And if you're ever going to have a walking filibuster, it would have been on this specific issue. And you're right. We share the same building, the House and the Senate, but it's like a different universe. The way in which they operate is so fundamentally different than ours. We have majority rules. If we have one more vote than the minority, we can pass legislation. They, with their 60-vote threshold to end debate, it's completely different. And it's just, I joke, but sometimes it's like they put their powdered wigs on and they affect British accents. And if a House member goes over there, they say, "Oh, have you been checked for lice?" I mean, it's really like that different. I'm befuddled.
Just real quick, I mean, you say that he didn't have the votes. We're starting to get some names. We don't know all of them because they really won't vote honestly. They'll vote for something if it doesn't pass, so they can't get attacked, and against it. They play the game. If we get the names, should those people be primaried? Or at that point, should they lose their seat? I mean, it seems like the only thing the Senate can do is budget reconciliation and confirm nominations. I don't know anything else that can happen with less than 60 from one party. So maybe some of these should find their way into retirement.
I've been saying this for several, not even years, but a few decades now, that it's not enough just to vote for Republicans. You need to vote for conservative Republicans that reflect your values, the people that are talking about and trying to pass legislation about matters and things that when we're yelling at the TV about things. That's the passion that you need to have, and you need to elect the right kind of Republicans.
You got a couple in your state that seem sketchy from time to time, but I guess we all do from time to time. So maybe we'll see what's next for you.
Well, Congressman Leader Thune is from my state of South Dakota. I know Joey asked to follow up. I'm just going to go ahead and ask one, too. You said it's not Leader Thune's fault he doesn't have the votes. Joey said maybe we should expose some of the votes that he doesn't have. But I'm saying if you're the leader and you got a mandate from the American people and you got a mandate from the President of the United States and you're the leader and you can't either expose the ones that don't give you the numbers or you can't convince them, perhaps the leadership role isn't one for him. I know you're not going to just outright throw him under the bus like I'm willing to do, but a lot of us are having these conversations that are MAGA all the way, supporters of President Trump. We're not getting what we voted for.
Mm-hmm. Now, listen, I think it's fair to say that just tell us what your position is. I mean, what are you going to hide behind a curtain? No. Yeah. Elected official, I don't care if I was on a city council, all the way up to the President of the United States. Tell me your position on important matters. Don't hide behind parliamentary maneuvers and your gobbledygook words, stuff like that. Are you for it or not? Because the Save America Act is real simple. Prove you're an American citizen, then you can vote.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. I saw that Elizabeth Banks, who's from my hometown of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, cut something about how the Save America Act would make it impossible for women that have changed their name like her to a professional name because her name was Elizabeth Mitchell. Come on now. That is just, again, hyperbolic fear-mongering. This is basic. It makes sense. And common sense, the only thing wrong with it is it's not common, apparently.
And weakness has become a defining characteristic of the Republicans in the Senate, most of them anyway. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, for being so honest. I know our audience certainly appreciates that from you, Congressman Fallon. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, y'all. God bless. Take care.
God bless.
God bless.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.